What's up, Syscoin community developers? This is BSTR156 coming at you today with a tutorial on implementing 0MQ for Syscoin using Node.js. Justin Silver, also known as Double Sharp, had provided a tutorial on this explaining some of the potential of 0MQ and basically getting it working. But I think some people have gotten stumped on possibly a couple of points, and I'm hoping that this tutorial will fill in any gaps. I'll start out describing 0MQ and how Syscoin applications can benefit from it. 0MQ is a lightweight wrapper around TCP connections, inter-process communication, and shared memory, providing various message-oriented semantics such as publish, subscribe, request reply, and push pull. 0MQ subscriptions can provide your Syscoin interchain app, multi-chain app, distributed app, or other Syscoin-based application with the ability to receive and respond to specific Syscoin events, such as a new block, asset allocation transaction, or other event as needed. And this eliminates the need for interval polling for new data, as it allows your app to respond to new data as quickly as it is received by your Syscoin node. It basically exposes the events in real time. One area I think that would be an interesting use case for it would be between ZDAG and a service that provides push notifications to a mobile client. So with the speed and throughput of ZDAG combined with real-time messaging through 0MQ and that application providing push notifications, that could be powerful. So it definitely is a good idea to familiarize yourself with 0MQ. In order to make 0MQ work with Syscoin, the first thing is to actually install it on the host. This tutorial is going to focus on Ubuntu 18. I'm also going to assume that you've got a functioning installation of Node.js, or you know how to install that, and that you understand how to compile Syscoin from source code. So the first thing that we need to do is open a console, a terminal, and go ahead and run sudo apt-get install libzmq3-dev. It's a fairly lightweight package. Now that is installed, when we go to compile Syscoin, the configure phase will detect the presence of 0MQ on this host and include support for that in the binaries that are produced. So let's go to the Syscoin directory, and we'll go ahead and run through a compile. Okay, now that we're finished compiling and 0MQ support is part of our Syscoin binaries, we need to go ahead and install the 0MQ package for Node.js. So to do that, we'll navigate into our project folder. Alright, once you're in your project folder, it's npm install 0MQ. Alright. Okay, so now the next steps are supplemented by Double Sharp's instructional. Okay. What we'll need to do also is install his Syscoin API for Node.js. Most of you have probably already done that, but I'm going to go ahead and run through that. I'm not actually going to execute the command, but I'll show the command. Here it is. So that'll install it in your Node modules folder. His API is good. There's one RPC command that we need to add to it in order for this particular demo to work, which is pretty simple to do. We just need to add one line to a file. So let's go ahead and navigate and it's methods.js. So what you'll see in here is a list of RPC commands with their corresponding lowest supported version. The one that you need to add is this first one right here in the list that I added, which is decode raw transaction. As long as you follow the convention that you see here, which is camel case, version, and a comma at the end, it should work as long as it's a valid RPC command for the Syscoin client. In the future, if there's any RPC commands that don't appear to work with the API, make sure to check this file and see that they're listed. You can add them, and that's always worked for me. We need to go ahead and make sure that Syscoin D is stopped at this point because we need to alter our syscoin.conf file. So I think, let me see, Syscoin. So go ahead and run stop. Make sure that it stopped. Okay, so mine's already stopped, so we're good. So we'll go to Syscoin core, Syscoin conf. You can alter the RPC user, password, and port to whatever you like, but this works for now. I'm leaving it this way for the demo. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and get in start Syscoin now. Alright, so it's probably going to have to take a few minutes to sync and everything. Okay, as you can see, we are synced. So we can get into the fun stuff, which is the code itself for 0MQ and Syscoin. So let's begin by jumping into our Node.js script for raw transactions. That is sys.zmq rawtx.js. We're basically working off of Justin Silver's example he provided, with some additions, of course. At the bottom, you see this is where we specify our connection to whichever message producer. You see that this is the out point, the same as the out points provided in the syscoin.conf, with one exception, which is subscriber.subscribe. So if you notice, this is not ZMQ pub rawtx here. It's just rawtx. You put the end of the name and leave off the ZMQ pub, or it just won't work. Okay. And here we're handling every message that comes across. The important part is what we do with the message itself, which comes across as, in its raw form as a buffer of hex. Not particularly useful in most cases when building apps for Syscoin. So we can convert that buffer to something more useful, which in this case is to a hex string as opposed to a hex buffer. So so that's what we're doing on this line. We need hex. That's the type of string that we need to input into decode raw transaction, right? So if you run get raw transaction with the transaction hash, you're going to get back serial hex. That's the kind of string that we need at this point if we're going to decode it, which we are. So after we get our hex string set, we execute parsetx, which is our asynchronous function up here. And again, this executes for every message that comes across in real time. Authentication details are specified here. They match what's in syscoin.conf. This could probably be defined external to the asynchronous function and doesn't necessarily, I think, have to run every single time a message comes across. But for this example, it's fine. This works. If you're developing a real app, you really should be running .env or including that in your Node.js so that you can conceal your authentication details, which you can install for your Node app using npm install .env. Most of you probably know that, but it's definitely worth stating. Okay, so with our details specified, we go ahead and connect to the Syscoin client by using syscoin.decode raw transaction, which is our RPC command, and we pass message hex to that, which is our hex string. Valid JSON is produced by decode raw transaction. It's already valid, and key value pairs can be accessed. In my example, I'm outputting the entire JSON string and accessing key value pairs to show that that can be done as well, and exactly how. Specifically, key value pairs of vout, which typically has multiple array, at least 2 every block. One for the miner reward and the other for the master node. I'm looping over those and outputting. So that's a fairly straightforward example. You can obviously do far more with this than just output text to a console. Let's go ahead and execute this so you can see a data stream. It's going to take a minute or less. Blocks come across every minute, so. And there we go. Wow, okay, we got some. All right. So here's the entire decoded raw transaction as JSON, and individual JSON key value pairs being output. And here's our loop that handles each vout array. So we pull our address and the value out. So this is obviously not a master node and miner, it's something else. Let's see, got several things. Here's a master node and miner. Okay, so as you can see, that works. Go ahead and break that, and let's go into our asset allocation example. Oops. Okay, this is much shorter because we don't necessarily have to loop over anything or what have you with this, and we also don't have to convert to hex and then pass through another RPC command because the output that we get is already valid JSON, and you can see that in how I handle it, where I take the raw 0MQ message and I convert it to a UTF-8 string. And we can immediately access the key value pairs just from that. So I'm not actually going to execute this one. I'm not totally sure any asset transactions will come across. There could be a ton come across or none at all for any period of time. So it's not like as much of a predictable thing as blocks, which you can pretty much bank on coming across once every minute or so. That's really about it. I'm going to provide code. You're welcome to ask questions. I'm on Syscoin Academy, obviously. Discord, BSTR156. I hope this is helpful to you. I'll probably do some more of these in the future and get a little bit better at them. So I appreciate you watching. And again, I hope this was useful for you.